Welcome to Riot Zone. I'm JR, good old Jim Ross, right here with you as always, beside my broadcast partners, Bobby Heenan and Corey Graves. Guys, I've got something. We got to go backstage right now. We have to go backstage. There's something happening backstage. You see Bobby Lashley and Batista going nose to nose. And as they're going nose to nose, there's no real reason why. It's just a lot of yelling and people trying to pull the two apart. And then Eric Bischoff eventually, catches wind after a couple seconds of this. He catches wind, so he comes walking in. Hey! What is going on here? Look, you two can fight it out later on in the ring. But right now, what I need from you is to go to your locker rooms and calm down. Please. You can work this out in the ring later, or you can go home and not get paid. Simple. We got a show to run, guys. Come on. Well, as I was saying, welcome to Riot Zone. A lot of action happening already. Tonight, we have some good stuff in store for you. That's right. Some high-flying action as Finn Balor looks to lay claim to the sky and take on Billy Kidman, the master of the Shooting Star Press. And don't forget, later on we'll have a women's tag team match between Bayley tagging with Molly Holly to take on the two powerhouses, Beth Phoenix and Chyna. And in our main event, we have two legendary teams facing off for the first time ever, as DX takes on the Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. All this and more coming up on Riot Zone. Alright, now we're going into our first matchup of the evening. Finn Balor taking on Billy Kidman. Alright, Finn Balor versus Billy Kidman. Billy Kidman comes out, holds his hands up at the beginning of the entranceway, walks down, gets on the top ropes, holds his hands up again, gets an average size, I would say, who's somebody that gets an average size applause? Maybe an Apollo Crews rating, something like that. But he comes down to the ring, and then Finn Balor comes out, and it's his normal music, but the lights aren't dim, they're not down, they're not flashing or anything like that. And he just walks out, doesn't address the crowd, doesn't do all of his hand gestures, his spreading his arms out. He actually shrugs off high fives. He actually shrugs away from all that, turns away from all of the fan favoritisms that he's been with all these years, and turns and starts really concentrating on himself instead of thinking about what the audience wants. So right off the bat, ding, 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 match begins. Finn starts off with a shotgun dropkick, starts off very fast, and Billy Kidman's not expecting it. Dead center of the chest, Billy does a back roll. After this, Finn starts working Billy Kidman's leg. He starts doing knee cranks. He starts doing heel hooks, ankle locks. There's a bunch of different ones. Figure four leg locks. He starts just working Billy Kidman's leg, so he can't get that shooting star press. He prevents him from getting up. He prevents him from doing a lot, and this is a lot of the match, Ground game. Finn Balor's working a very smart offense, keeping Billy Kidman's offense limited. He's also limiting his own, but that doesn't mean Finn Balor can't wrestle on the ground. He's a very gifted wrestler on the ground as well. Eventually, Kidman fights his way back into the match. He starts getting into a positive position. A few shots to the stomach, a couple more to the head, and drop kick leads him all to be able to finally hit a BK bomb on Finn. Gets a real close 2 count, but ultimately Finn kicks out. He goes up top, and ultimately the move that really deceives and fails Billy Kidman is his finisher, the shooting star press. He tries for it, misses. Finn Balor scurries up the ropes, hits a coup de grace for the 1-2-3. After Balor wins, the boos start coming in
Balor holds middle fingers up all the way around and starts saying to the camera, "It's me. It's all about me and my friends." And he puts up the too sweet sign. And that is how that match ends with a Finn Balor win. Now it's in a locker room. You see Bret Hart standing there in the locker room, messing with his phone or possibly getting dressed, just stretching something. And when you see him in there, you hear a door close. And as the door closes, Kurt Angle comes into view. Kurt? Bret? You know you got lucky last time we met. You know that, right? I won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck. I could beat you. Well, you didn't, did ya? That's why I fought Daniel Bryan for the title. And you didn't win, did you? I would have made him tap out to the ankle lock. I would have did the angle slam to him 5, 6 times and broke his freaking leg off. You think you could do that to me, Kurt? Think you could take me on? I know I can take you on, Bret. You're just gonna have to wait for your ass whipping, just like Daniel Bryan. He leaves the room. Bret Hart just steaming at that point.
Alright, fellas. Here comes our second matchup of the evening. And it's a doozy for you. It is CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. What do you think about this one, Corey?
Joe is a killer. I don't see how he could lose this match in any way. CM Punk's been out for a while, and then Samoa Joe's just a monster. There's no way he's gonna lose this match tonight. I would never count out CM Punk. The guy is a monster. He knows exactly what he's doing in the ring. He knows exactly how to do things in the ring. He can submit you. He can knock you out when they go to sleep. I mean, there's tons of options.
Well, guys, we're going to see what happens right now.
All right, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. Oh man, this match is going to be great. So right now, so after their entrances, the bell rings, ding, da ding ding, da da ding ding ding, ding ding ding. Joe comes out calculated and focused on causing as much discomfort and pain to Punk's neck as possible, getting it ready, plenty loosened up, plenty in pain enough for that muscle buster and Coquina clutch to finish Punk off. Punk eventually, after a little bit of Joe just relentlessly targeting his neck and everything, he finds a break. And after he finds a break, after he finds a moment where he can start attacking, he starts kicking Joe's leg, trying to kick it out from underneath him, He starts punching him in the gut, starts throwing elbows, forearms. He's starting to move him, and then he throws a roundhouse and staggers Joe backwards. Runs off the ropes, comes to Joe. Joe catches him with a big uranagi, and he lands high. I mean, really high on his shoulders. Almost looks like he's on his neck. And it looks really painful and really bad. It looks like he just accordions up or scorpions up. Either way. As soon as that happens, Samoa Joe picks up CM Punk, throws him into the corner, hoists him up onto the top turnbuckle, gets him on his shoulders, takes a running start before he drops to his back, hitting the muscle buster on CM Punk. He pins him. 1, 2, and CM Punk kicks out right before the ref's hand touches the mat on a 3. Joe can't believe it. Joe is beside himself. He's freaking out. He's yelling at the ref. He's yelling at Punk. And then he takes Punk, picks him up, throws him back in the corner, and puts him up on the top again. Starts to go for that muscle buster a second time. Punk fights out of it. He starts throwing the hands. Just punch after punch after punch after club, hitting Joe until Joe finally staggers back out of the corner. Punk hits him with a diving clothesline off the top of the rope. Then he struggles. He struggles to get to that standing position to actually jump off the rope and hit that clothesline. After that, he hits him a little bit later. He gets some more, he gets the crowd behind him. He hits that knee, that high knee in the corner, and he has to stay there for a second. And then he's limping, basically, while, trying to shake the cobwebs off. He's limping around trying to shake the cobwebs off. And he's very, you can tell he's visibly shaken, But he gets the bulldog off on him, goes to the top, climbs up there. He's all woozy and you can see he's off balance and stuff. Gets to the top, goes for the elbow. He hits the elbow on Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe kicks out at 2. They're both down on the ground. Neither of them can stand up. Neither of them are able to move. Samoa Joe got his bell rung by the kick to the head, by all the strikes and clubs to the head, by the diving clothesline. Joe's out. Punk's hurting. Punk's neck is hurting really bad. It hurts for him to do anything at this point. So he readjusts his body, both of them laying there. Normally you would think pin, but no. Punk goes for the Anaconda Vice. Joe can't move. Joe can't get out of it. Joe can't do anything, so Joe has to tap out. He gets Joe with the Anaconda Vice. CM Punk wins this match.
JB backstage again, trying to get a word with Batista to see what happened earlier this evening between him and Lashley. Batista, can I get a word?
Sure, JB. What's on your mind?
What's on all of our minds, I would assume, would be what happened earlier between you and Lashley. What's going on?
Well, JB, I overheard Lashley bad-mouthing me, saying I'm not on his level, and I don't deserve to be here. So, I stuck up for myself, and here we are.
Very interesting. Well, thank you for that information. I'm sure you have a lot to get ready for. Your match is coming up a little bit later. Bayley and Molly Holly taking on two giants from two different eras, two different times, Chyna and Beth Phoenix. I don't even know what to think of this. This is going to be crazy. Bayley and Molly go right after Chyna and Beth, showing them they're not afraid, start attacking them, run, and immediately hit a drop kick on both of them. Both hit drop kicks, dual drop kicks on Chyna and Beth Phoenix, knocking them down. They roll to the outside of the ring. Both go to the top. Molly and Bayley go to the top rope, do a big crossbody off the top, actually hit it. The big guys go down on the outside of the ring. They take the powerhouses to the ground with those crossbodies. They then move back to the ring. Chyna being the legal woman, they isolate her in the ring, making quick tags often, frequently, very fast tags, doing double team moves on Chyna, just trying to wear her down as much as they can. After a little while, though, even the best laid plans don't take full effect for the size, the sheer strength and size of both of these women.
So as the match is going on, the size advantage comes back into effect. Chyna lays Bayley out with a clothesline after a little while, catching her doing one of her moves. After that, Molly Holly comes in and Beth Phoenix runs in the ring, spears Molly Holly, like making her turn inside out, doing one of those awesome looking back rolls. They nod at each other. Beth Phoenix goes outside the ring on the apron. Chyna tags her in. They both get in. Chyna picks up Bayley above her head and does a military press slam, slamming Bayley on her back. And then Beth Phoenix picks up Molly Holly and drops her right on top of Bayley. Both women put their feet on top of the two. The ref counts the 1, 2, 3. Beth Phoenix and Chyna, a force to be reckoned with possibly in the future. We don't know yet. They worked together very well in this match, pulling off the victory against the two fan favorites, Bayley and Molly Holly. Two big guys, both with MMA experience, facing off against each other. Finally, I've been wanting to do this match, been wanting to see this match on TV. Just one-on-one, just give me something. You won't give me Brock and Bobby. You won't give me Batista and Brock. What are you gonna, just give me this. I'll be happy. Both men lock up, collar elbow tie up in the middle of the ring, pushing each other back into each corner. Bobby pushing Batista into the corner behind him. Batista pushing Bobby into the corner behind him. Neither of them clearly having the advantage, so they break, reaching a stalemate. They don't know. They do it again, and each time the same result. Stalemates on who's the strongest between the two of these. So Bobby then offers up his hand for the weird, like, mercy game style finger lays. I'm gonna push you down where your shoulders touch the mat, or you're gonna something, I don't know what it is. But they lock up. Batista reaches his hand out to grab that top hand, and Lashley just big vicious clothesline. And I like the gimmick he's using currently. The Almighty calls himself Almighty Lashley. I am Almighty. Batista quickly scrambles to where his hands and knees are on the ground, and he does an MMA or a amateur wrestling takedown on Lashley, and begins pummeling him to the face, to the ribs, anywhere he's got an open spot, just punching and elbows and punching. They eventually roll to the outside of the ring. Batista and Bobby both trade turns, smashing each other's heads into the side of the ring, into the apron, into the ring post, into the barricade, into the the announce tables, everywhere. They work their way up to the top of the entranceway. That's when it happens. That's when Bobby Lashley spears Batista off the stage onto the concrete floor. Both men knocked out, unconscious. Both men probably concussed. But is it worth it to see it? How good this rivalry? Yes. The match is ruled a no contest. Both are taken to a local medical facility where it's ruled that they did indeed get a concussion from this thing. But the thing is, we don't know where this is going yet. We don't know what's gonna happen. Hope to see some more good stuff soon. So it cuts to backstage in the females' locker room with Charlotte and Gail Kim. they're talking about the match, the title match on the last episode for the Women's Championship, how they should have won that title, how they should have won. Both of them laying claim to how they should have won. Gail's saying how Trish and her kicked the crap out of Charlotte and kept her from even being in the ring, let alone winning a title. Charlotte claims that she had Gail in the figure 8 and she was about to tap before Trish did the frog splash. She should be the champion. That's whenever Sasha Banks walks in, starts talking about being the boss and how she feels like she should get a shot at the title. She's won numerous championships in numerous different shows before, so it wouldn't be that difficult to see her win. And after that, it's crazy. They're talking about title reigns and comparing who's had many titles, how many titles, where they've had titles, so on and so forth. Then Lita comes in, one of the biggest women wrestlers of the Attitude Era, one that's faced Trish Stratus many times, and she puts in her 2 cents for a chance at that women's gold, saying that she's wanting one more shot at it as well. Well, they all start yelling and screaming and fighting, and Eric Bischoff hears that. He comes in and he says, "All right, here's how we're going to solve this. Lita, you will face off against Sasha Banks. You will face off against Charlotte and Gail Kim. All of you will face off against each other next week in a fatal 4-way match to determine the number 1 contender and who will face Trish Stratus at the next pay-per-view event. Be prepared next week. It's your chance for an opportunity at gold." And they all stop. They just kind of look at each other, and Eric leaves. Then it goes back to ringside. The main event, D-Generation X, Shawn Michaels and Triple H facing off against the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. What'll happen? Well, at the very beginning of the match, ding, 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 bell rings. They all come to center of the ring. They all do the 2 sweet sign up in the air, touching each other's fingers. They go back to each other's opposite corners. They turn to go back. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall blindside Hunter and Michaels. I mean, just kick the ever-living crap out of them in the ring and just start smashing them, stomping them, smashing their face into the corner posts. Kevin Nash hits a big boot on Shawn Michaels. He hits a Razor Ramon hits a giant clothesline on Triple H. They take them, smash their heads into the ring posts, off the steps, just make a real bloody mess of them. Triple H and Shawn painted red right now. They put them both through an announce table, both with each of their finishers. Nash does the jackknife powerbomb to Shawn Michaels through an announce table, and Scott Hall does the Razor's Edge to Triple H through an announce table. They leave DX battered and broken as the show comes to an end. The last thing you see is the Outsiders leaving through the crowd. The commentary team is completely